Hey guys, my name is Anthony and in today's video I'm going to be going over the first round here at Australia for TSRL, also known as Top Speed Racing League. So I'm pretty happy to be getting back into league racing. So if you want to see league racing highlights and league racing live stream content, make sure to hit that like button and stick around by subscribing to the channel for that type of content. So getting into today's video, as you can see, going into qualifying, it was in wet conditions, and honestly I hadn't really done a lot of practice on this track at all, even in dry conditions. So going into the wet conditions, I was pretty nervous. As you can see here, going into the first corner, I ended up going super wide and just had to abandon that lap pretty much instantly because of how wide I went. I'm surprised I actually didn't even get an invalidation there. It was that bad. But yeah, going into qualifying, I was super nervous at first, and as you can see, we did go for a second round and we did improve. We did go fastest, but it was still very slow. A 36.0 is very slow in wet conditions for me. I know I can go at least a couple of seconds quicker. And coming up to the end of Q2 now, we skip all the way to Q2, and as you can see, final lap in Q2, and I completely bottled the chicane, the fast chicane, and I believe it's turn 11 and 12. And you can see we were outside of the top 10, and because of that bottle we didn't make up the amount of time we needed to, and we stayed outside of the top 13. So we're going to be starting outside of the top 10, and you can see our strategy is mediums to softs, pitting at around about lap 18. So we've got 5 lights here and away we go. So finally we're getting our league racing season underway, and going into the first corner, I knew how league racing works, and as soon as I was going into the first corner I knew, okay, I'm going to try and take it easy, try and go a little bit slow. It's a lot better to go a little bit slow and maybe lose a couple of positions than just charge into there, lose a wing, and then your race is pretty much over. And as you can see, Stardust in front of us sort of squeezed us, so I had to stop the car a little bit just to stay on the track and not end up getting any sort of damage or anything like that. But because we were going around his outside at a really tight corner, we ended up getting our first of many warnings. I will tell you guys now that I think we ended up with about 9 seconds worth of penalties, and yeah, it's pretty bad, and I'll speak about that later on. But going into lap 2 now, you can see the Racing Point actually ends up spinning, and then the Ferrari spins, and I've seen an end plate there. So I'm not sure exactly who got the damage, but either way, both of their races have been compromised, and it even compromised our race as well, because we lost a lot of time to the top 9 drivers because of that. And we ended up getting another warning as well, because at this point I really just wanted to catch up to the top 9, but because of that little incident which held me up, I was just pushing, and that's pretty much what happened for most of the race, to be honest with you guys. It was literally just me pushing to try and catch up with the top 9. As we move on to lap 5, I believe, it's just me showing you just how much I was pushing in order to catch up, and we did do a little bit of catching up. I think we ended up getting within around about 3 seconds of the people in front of us, but after that it was pretty much a stalemate for the longest time, where, you know, I just couldn't get in within 3 seconds. We pretty much were matching each other in pace, so the distance was just compromising my entire plan for this race, and it was because of that incident there at lap 2, which, if I didn't bottle that quali lap in Q2, I probably would have already been inside of the top 10. So moving straight on to lap 15 now, because literally nothing happened until then. As you can see, AMS Atomic ends up passing us, and I was just sort of wondering if he had pitted for the mediums, because he was going lightning quick right now, and it turned out that yes, he had already pitted for the mediums. So I'm glad about that, because honestly at the time I was thinking, holy crap, this guy's on medium tires like me and he's shooting off. So I thought that maybe my pace was just really slow, but it just turns out he was on fresh mediums, whereas I was on 16 lap old mediums. So I was happy about that. But as you can see, we got a penalty, which actually ended up being our second penalty. I think we'd already got a penalty prior to that, so we're at 6 seconds worth of penalties right now. And this is what I meant earlier about just getting a lot of penalties. In league racing, you really don't want to get a lot of penalties, because most people around you will get penalties penalties, and you can end up getting so many points, so many more positions in a race just by not getting any penalties. So that's definitely something that I want to work on in this racing season, just working on not getting as much penalties, because on F1 2019 I did get a lot of penalties, and I don't want the same thing to happen in F1 2020. So as you guys can see now, coming into lap 18, we pit for the soft tires, and as you can see, we're in the Mercedes, the black Mercedes. And though I'm pretty happy to be in the Mercedes car, at the same time, when it comes to league racing, being in the Mercedes car comes with a huge disadvantage, and that huge disadvantage is the fact that you're the first in the pit lane, so you're most likely to get held. And in equal car performances, you would probably rather be in the Williams car, just so that, you know, the chances of you getting held in the pits are less likely. But hopefully we don't get held as much going into this season. We'll just have to try and be smart with our pit strategies and be very strategic. And then moving on to lap 20, you can see we got another time penalty. So at this point now, we have 9 seconds worth of penalties, which is a lot of penalties. And this is why I was saying that I really need to work on not getting as much penalties in this season, because you can make up so many points, so many positions just by not getting penalties. And you'll see what I mean come the end of the race. So moving on now, I believe, I'm not sure if we cut away here. I think we stay here for a little bit on board. But moving on to lap 24 now. Reason why I did that is because on lap 24, just after the fast chicane, we ended up getting a safety car due to Stardust retiring, I believe. So yeah, at this point I was on softs, and I think I was on softs for about 6 laps now. And I wasn't really sure whether I should pit or not, but then I realized the safety car is going to be out for a couple of laps. I'm already on softs and it's lap 24 of 29, so I decided to just stay out. There was no point in me pitting. Obviously the guys around me who were on the medium tires or even the hard tires, they were going to pit for the softs, so they were going to be on fresher softs than I was. But I thought that at the time, it was only 6 laps that I was on the soft tyres, so I felt that the soft tyres would have been good enough to really just give myself the advantage from staying out. So we're in 6th place right now, coming into the end of the safety car at the end of lap 27. And as you can see, the leaders have started the race again, and I didn't really get a great exit coming off of that final corner, and AMS Matthew behind me is looking for the overtake. And honestly, I didn't think he was going to overtake me in the first corner, but he ended up doing that. And as you can see, we clipped the grass whilst giving him space, and we ended up spinning out and damaging our front wing. So personally, I was quite annoyed at this point, because I didn't understand why he overtook me into turn 1. I thought that overtaking me into turn 3 would have been a much better opportunity for him, and it would have been a lot easier for both of us to basically swap positions going into turn 3. But he decided to overtake me into turn 1. It was a really awkward overtake for me, and as you can see, we ended up damaging our wing. And coming up to the finish line now, we finished in P12, gaining no points, and in WOR, I didn't gain points either. I ended up retiring, and you can see from my face just how annoyed and disappointed I was, not only in Matthew for overtaking me in an awkward spot, but myself as well, because at the end of the day, I was the one who lost the traction. So yeah, we come in 12th place, but just look at all those penalties. We could have easily gained quite a few places just because of the amount of penalties there. So yeah, that's going to be it for the first league racing highlights. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and that you've seen that when it comes to league racing, it doesn't always go your way. I know people like JD, you know, and Tom97 and some of those guys, they post their league racing highlights, and it may seem that league racing is pretty easy. You can go into there and pretty much dominate whatever league you're in. However, that's not always the case. Someone of my skill level, you know, it is really difficult to really assert yourself into the league racing scene and become a good driver. And that's what I hope that my videos can really help you guys see, that league racing is very fun, but it's also very difficult if you want to become one of the top drivers. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in my next video.